All right, hello all, live once again, another edition of Boxing Chit. We're going to be talking about the latest and greatest in the sport of boxing, all the action that took place over the weekend. Of course, myself, Josh here, along with Boz, holding it down across the Atlantic. So, how's it going, man?
Yeah, pretty good. I just didn't come home. I came home not so long ago. So yeah, it's a well, pretty good
All
all
right.
together.
All right, good to go. Good to go. Yeah, so we had a couple of lulls in boxing action on a few weekends, but it seems like the steam is picking up here as we move towards the end of the year. And yesterday was a big day in the sport of boxing. Of course, the premier fight and one we could start out with is without a doubt the WBA World Lightweight title, Super World Lightweight title matchup between defending champion Dmitry Bivol and Gilberto's Zurdo Ramirez. And this is a fight that many people, once it was signed, kind of got behind because we knew that it had the potential for being something special. We were seeing
Mm,
Bivol, who's proven to be one of, if not the best light heavyweight out there, and Zurdo Ramirez, who was one of the best 168 pounders who made a move to 175 not too long ago. He showed his prowess in being able to handle himself, having the right size and the right style of fighting to where he could potentially make a lot of noise at 175. So this fight went down in Abu Dhabi in Dubai, and there was a big event there. Big event there. It looked like there were a number of people in action and all of that. Now the
mm.
fight in itself, of course, we know that that ended up being something that leaned heavily in the favor of Dmitry Bivol. So with that, I wanted to get your thoughts on what you saw last night with between Bivol and Ramirez.
Yeah, that was I thought it was just very one side. Oh, hey, Rodolfo.
Salute
What's up?
Rodolfo.
Yeah, it was. I mean, just another really dominant performance by Bivol and a showcase of his skills, and abilities. And I what I really liked is that he didn't just play it safe. He could have just moved around and
Oh, wow.
boxed and jabbed, but he actually went for it. He went for it. He hurt. Ramirez or hit him with many solid shots anyway. I don't know how hurt he was, but he couldn't. He must have felt something anyway
Yeah.
at some point. And Ramirez just looked very slow, very ponderous. It was as if he was thinking, "What should I do? What kind of punch do I want to throw now?" So I actually only gave him the 10th round because that was the round where we all seemed to take a break. He did.
Okay.
Kind of lay the gas off I mean the foot off the pedal.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, but I just couldn't see how that guy Chris Mannix, I believe his name was, could give Ramirez rounds 2 and 3. I was, come on, man, he didn't
Oh,
do
yeah.
a thing there. I think actually he was better in the first round because he did kind of manage to land one good solid. I don't know if it was an uppercut, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and but it wasn't so big, to really hurt Bivol. But the first round was definitely more competitive
Oh,
than
yeah.
most of others, and because the rest was all pretty much all Bivol except for the 10th round, as I said. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you there. I definitely agree. That first round, it seemed as though it was going to turn into something pretty special from an action standpoint. But you're right in that Bivol seemed to just take over from there, and
mm,
I felt Bivol won pretty much the majority, if not all, of the first several rounds through the
yeah,
early and mid part of the fight. And he showed that he is in that billing as one of the 10 best pound for pound boxers in the world. It seems that he just
without a doubt.
steps up and takes on all challengers. And it's
Mm,
not that he's just beating these guys, it's the fact that he is actually beating them in a thorough manner where they're not winning many rounds. Same thing happened with Joe Smith Jr. when he fought Joe Smith Jr. Joe
Yeah.
Smith Jr. may have won just one round. He did only won. He only won the one round, which is a round he hurt Bivol with
Oh,
at towards the end. And
yeah.
and same thing here. You could probably give Zurdo one, maybe two rounds at max. But
Yeah.
I was watching the fight again, as I mentioned. I watched the replay here this morning because I was watching it on my phone yesterday. I was at a boxing event, so I didn't get to really get a full glimpse of it. But in watching it today, the performance by Bivol was even that more impressive. And I
Mm.
think in the case of Zurdo Ramirez, from what I gathered, he seems to be unable to fight going backwards. And in the case of this fight, he was forced backwards by Bivol. So that's something of
Mm.
note. It was Bivol doing the pressing. He was really pressing the action throughout the contest. And Zurdo was a bit reluctant to get into any wild and heavy exchanges, which tells me
Yeah.
he certainly must have been feeling those punches that were coming back from Bivol. And you could tell that he was cautious in that sense because if you think about Zurdo at 168, and even in his fights here at 175, he's always the guy coming forward, pressing the
Yeah.
action, and he's throwing the shots. And when you take that away from him, that seems to change the dynamic. And Bivol is just he's so technically gifted, and he's just so swift with his movements. He did a great job of staying off the ropes. If he feels his back's on the ropes, he'll do things like throw a punch and then turn just to make sure he gets off of the rope.
Yeah.
So he does a great
Definitely.
job of controlling it. And that was a similar case with in the Canelo fight as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you are the bigger, stronger guy, that Ramirez definitely was. You don't just, stand there and wait and then think, play
Yeah.
boxing. I mean, play chess, man. You must bully the guy. You must go to the body. You must throw many shots. Otherwise, you lose. That's what everybody knows. And he's not a one punch guy either, Ramirez. So it wasn't like he was kind of measuring him
Yeah.
up, like for instance, Nonito or somebody like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Which are there? The Rodolfo says, "What were you guys score on the Bivol fight?" So I didn't score Rodolfo. Of course, if you all want to score, you're listening to this right now. There's an app or there's a website called Fight Night
Yeah,
Scores. It's fight-score.com. That's the best and most comprehensive way of scoring. So shout out to Fight Night Scores. But in this case, Rodolfo, I didn't score. But that being said, from what I saw in rewatching it this morning, yeah, I'd be hard pressed to give Zurdo anything over two rounds. I mean, I can't even say anything was 100% definitively his. I'm guessing maybe the 10th, as you mentioned, um,
mm.
Boz. But of course, when I was watching it, even in the early parts of it, I didn't think Zurdo won any of those early rounds.
Mm.
And you could just see that Bivol's punches were more accurate and had more mustard on them when he was throwing them, and he was snapping Zurdo's head back. Yeah,
Yeah. I used that fight nights fight
cool.
score. I mean, yeah, that's fun, really, because you can also like choose. I mean, who you can also set that who you think really dominated the round and how much and why.
Oh
That's
yeah,
that's fun, I think. And
yeah, yeah.
so I scored 119, 109. As I said, I only gave
Okay.
Zurdo that 10th round, and even though the first round was a little close, but I thought
Mm-hmm.
Bivol closed really good, and also I believe it was in the fifth round. I believe when he let it. Oh no, sorry. I just mixed up. That's another fight. That's
Oh
another.
yeah, always a ton of them.
Yeah, but I really love the way I know in one of the later rounds he landed a really great punch, like some sort of a chopping right, but it was a really unusual punch. I really love when boxers throw
Yeah,
such unorthodox punches. So it
yeah.
was, yeah, beautiful to watch.
Oh yeah, yes, indeed. So that this speaks well for Bivol. I mean, now everything is opened up in some sense, and he has more eyes now that he's gotten that Canelo fight, because Bivol, he's really been dominating in the majority of his fights over the past, but of
Mm-hmm.
course he had some points of layoff in. And he hadn't been a huge name in the sport of boxing, but I think that Canelo fight helped to bring out his star, and he's really
Yeah.
one of the top guys right now. So thinking about
Mm-hmm.
that, the thing that comes up is what's next. And as far as what Bivol, from what I gathered, stated he wanted was a fight with Artur Beterbiev, who has the other three major belts. So Bivol has the WBA, so Beterbiev has the IBF, WBC, and WBO. So that would bring about a fully undisputed title shot for 175 pounds. And
It
as
should
far
be
as
the
when that
first
last
time
happened,
since
okay,
when?
since
Yeah.
when?
Yeah, when was the last time there was an
Oh,
undisputed light heavyweight champion? I don't know.
oh yeah, I was gonna ask you if you knew.
I'm
Yeah, I can't
thinking
remember
now.
it.
I know because Roy Jones he lacked the WBO belt. That's
Yeah,
the
he didn't
only
get
one.
all of them. Yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't get all of them.
So yeah,
So
yeah. I
was
think
it?
there hasn't been anyone so well. Kovalev also didn't get all the belts. I think Kovalev.
No, no, he didn't.
No,
He
he
didn't.
had the
As far as,
WBC, WBA, and I don't know
because he
one
couldn't
more.
get that fight with Adonis
Oh
Stevenson. I
yeah, he
remember.
didn't have WBC. That's right. Adonis
Yeah,
had that. Yeah,
so that
he
makes
had.
it interesting.
Yeah, so
I'm
that would be the first time. And actually now I
I'm gonna have to
favor
look that up
Bivol.
actually.
Yeah, I favor Bivol against Beterbiev because also next year Beterbiev will be 38 by the time they fight, and that we know what that does. Father time, as they say, catches you. I mean,
Yeah,
it's possible that he can still be good enough. I mean, prime enough to win that fight, but he's always fought punchers, I think mostly, or guys, that were like not so defensively great as we all. So it will be a big challenge for him to, land many punches that he needs to knock out Viol because, of course, that's the way he wins. He has never won on points, as we know. So
yeah, yeah. I'm with you there. I was just looking up the undisputed status as far as those types of or when that's happening at light heavyweight. And I see here now. This is Wikipedia. It says Michael Spinks was undisputed when he beat Eddie
but yeah,
Davis back
but
in 85,
they didn't
84,
have the
85.
WBO belt yet. I think that
Yeah.
was in 1989 or something that it was introduced. Yeah.
And yeah, and then it shows Roy Jones in his fight with Reggie Johnson. This was from 99 to 2002. It's somehow tied to the IBF. So I
Oh
don't think
yeah,
it's happened in the four belt era. I
Reggie.
don't know
Yeah,
this.
I know that Reggie held the IBF, so Roy won that one when he beat Reggie. Yeah,
Mm.
that's right.
So yeah, interesting. But yeah, that's something I definitely have to look into a bit more, because I don't think it's, from what I gather here, it hasn't happened in the four belt era. So that
Mm.
was WBA, WBC, and IBF. So now
Yeah.
with WBO included, I think this will be the first time it has happened.
Yeah, before WBO was really not regarded as a really big belt, until
Yeah,
21st century, and not even then and immediately. It was like
yeah,
more after, like, I don't know, 2008, 9 that it became, bigger, something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that, because of guys like Joe Calzaghe, and before him there were some others. There were this
yeah.
Hungarian guy, that Erdei, he was also very good. He was WBO, I believe. Yeah.
Okay,
Champion.
cool. And Rodolfo letting it be known, he's spot on there. He says the WBO wasn't a major title though at the time, so I think Roy is technically the last undisputed champion. So okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Then that
you
makes
can say
sense.
that. Yeah, you can say that, of course. And even if he had fought for that title, he would have been the favorite to win against
Yeah,
Mikhail Chersky.
yeah, certainly. Certainly. And then Rodolfo says, I think Beterbiev fights in January. I just hope Canelo fights the winner of Plant versus Benavidez. Yeah, I heard him mention in the broadcast. I guess Anthony Yard is the mandatory for Beterbiev. So I guess that fight
Mm,
is going to happen, or at least all signs are pointing towards it's happening. I
mm,
haven't got a confirmation myself, but that's the thing that stands in the path of an undisputed matchup between Beterbiev and Bivol. And I'm with you. I think that Bivol, I've long considered Bivol the top guy at 175, but there's a stretch in there where I felt that Arthur Beterbiev was the guy at 175 over a particular period. But at this point,
mm.
man, it's really a nice matchup. The potential of such, I think it'll be great. And 50-50 would be, I think, adequate as far
Mm.
as the odds there for it. But I'm going to lean towards Bivol as well because I think this will be the toughest opponent for Beterbiev. Of course, probably the
Yeah.
toughest for Bivol as well.
Mm.
And despite his destructive powers, Beterbiev, that is, we know that he can
Yeah, of
be
course.
hit, and if he gets sort
Yeah.
of out of boxing mode and wants to really just gun for a knockout or something like that, I think that Bivol can remain calm and poised and be able to tag him and outpoint him. So
Yeah.
many different things could happen, of course, but I would certainly lean towards Bivol slightly in this matchup. But I think it's an excellent matchup. And
Mm.
ironically, two Russian fighters are the two best light heavyweights in the world, so we're going to see them clash it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think before we all beat Canelo and everybody was like, oh no, Beterbiev is going to knock him out. No way.
Yeah,
And now I think many are saying something different now. And,
yeah.
after this fight last night also, yeah. So, I don't
Yeah,
know. I think quite many were giving Zurdo a pretty realistic chance to win, this fight. I think, and
yeah,
because of his record and his height and all that, because he does, I guess, hit hard and the wall, but not that much, I think. But anyway, he's a
yeah.
stronger guy. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's a bigger guy as well,
yeah,
and he's a very offensive guy. Excuse me,
he's
but
very big.
Bebo kept him on the move.
I think even he might now end up at the cruiserweight. Yeah, that's how big
Funny
he
you
is.
brought that up. That was something I was going to mention as far as for Ramirez. I wondered if cruiserweight is more of a fitting weight for him
Yeah.
because we know he drops a lot of pounds to get down
Mm.
to 175. And in his last fight, I don't know what he came in at fight night for this particular fight, but I remember in the previous fight, he came in fight night 29 pounds heavier or something that,
Mm.
which is
Yeah.
insane in one day. You put on that weight. So I'm wondering if he'd be even more comfortable because he certainly has the frame for cruiserweight. And I feel like at cruiserweight, you don't have to necessarily be a huge puncher. I mean, Dorticos was a huge puncher, but he was
Yeah.
outboxed by some guys who were not as
Right.
big punchers. Like
Yeah.
Maris Brides, we don't view him
That's
as a
correct.
big puncher. We don't view
Yeah.
guys
No.
like
Yeah.
Usyk as big punchers as well. You know what I'm saying? So
Brady
maybe
says.
cruiserweight is ideal for him.
Yeah. And I was thinking maybe the way he moved, all that. He looked just he wasn't really comfortable fighting it that way anymore, and he looked
Yeah,
maybe it's like he had outgrown the division already because that's what happens when these guys who are big they quit making the weight in the first division. They were quite a long time, and then they just go up. They just can't stop it. They just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So they just start going through divisions like that, because you had guys like, for instance, Guillermo Jones, El Felino. He
oh
was,
yeah,
remember him, a cruiserweight, but he started as
yeah.
a welterweight, and he fought at 154 for a long time, quite long
Oh
time.
wow,
But
yeah,
then
cruiserweight.
just went up, just like that, jumped up
Yeah,
so many divisions, like
yeah.
three,
That
four.
is. Yeah, and some guys they do it in a manner that probably isn't the best. Not that that was the case with Jones, but some guys they just move up because they don't want to work to drop off that weight. But in
Yeah.
Ramirez's case, I think that it would be better suited, or it would suit him at if he fought at 200 pounds, because
Mm.
that seems to be closer to what his normal weight is or walking around weight, and maybe that would give him more energy and make him a bit better at being able to hang in there
Yeah.
and do what he needs to do with the elites of the division.
Yeah, that division is now more open, than it was a few years ago when Usyk
Yep.
was there, and now Bradis is now obviously past his best, and so we have Okoli, Opetaya,
Battaglia. Yep.
Macabo is also on the way out. I would say probably he's already
Oh yeah, yeah.
35 or
I
something.
think he's just looking for that major payday.
Yeah,
Ideally, Cadelo, but that seems likely to not less likely to happen now for sure.
yeah. And just want to mention one thing because I hadn't seen that this fight was on the 29th of October in Russia. Um, and I didn't find out because Boxrec doesn't keep up no longer with those fights in Russia. So there was a
Okay.
countryman of mine from Bosnia, actually, Herzegovina,
Oh
who
yeah.
fought Damir Beljo. He's a cruiserweight, and he was 26-0 before that. And now he fought Alexei Papin,
Pop
who,
it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But what happened? He actually in the second round he was kind of hurt, and then but he wasn't finished. And then just after Papin, he went to ropes, right? And Papin started punching. And just after 3 or 4 seconds, the referee jumps in and stops it. It
Oh
was
wow.
so ridiculous, And
I'm gonna have to
Bale was
look that
like,
up.
what did you do? Look at me, I'm fine, But
Yeah.
it was over. So that's that's a shame because he's a pretty good fighter and he's old, 38 years
Okay.
old. So
Yeah, I
that
did
was
see
his
that
last.
matchup.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
his last chance, pretty much, to go up higher up. So
Interesting business right there.
yeah,
I had to take a look at that to see how it looked as far as optics. So
yeah.
I'll give you my view of it.
Before that, it was pretty competitive. Pretty even, but
Never
this
know in some of these
yeah.
fights. It's crazy. Shout out to Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and Morse. He says, "Salute, boys. Salute to you, Bruce. Appreciate you dropping by, my friend. Be sure to check out Bruce Gas. Go check out his channel. A lot of entertaining stuff going on there. A
Mm.
lot of good interviews. I mean, you'll be right there in the mix. So yeah, definitely appreciate you coming through, Bruce, without a
Yeah,
doubt."
so I posted that fight in the Boxing Haven, so you can find it there. so
Okay, cool, cool. Boxing Haven. Check that out, folks. Go to Facebook, Boxing Haven. You'll see it there without a
mm,
doubt. You will certainly see the Boxing Haven listed there. But yeah,
mm,
that's
yeah.
pretty
So
interesting
that's
stuff right there, man.
that was a shame, but that's
It
how
sucks when that
sport.
happens.
Yeah, of course. He couldn't. I mean, referee just kind of. You gotta first ask them, right, if they are all right, if they can continue, and then you stop it. I mean, if you gotta take a little time, right, before you just end it. This guy just
Yeah.
stopped it with this, Bear was doing this, like covering up, and that's it.
Well, yeah. Don't know what to say. Don't know what to say. But ball game basically.
Yeah, but I mean that one cruiserweight fight I would like to see it's a all British showdown, of course. So Coley and Richard
Oh yeah,
React.
React for Richard React for yeah, yeah, yeah. I know that's React for has been building up his name. Coley
Mm,
seems primed and ready to go. I think yeah, he's shown what he's capable of to a certain degree against some of the top guys there. The way he
yeah.
took out Glovatsky,
Oh
I
yeah.
believe that's how you say his name.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was yeah, that was good for him right there.
Very
And
well.
yeah, yeah, working on it. But so yeah, Okoli
Yeah.
React
Fight.
Poor. I need to check out some more of React Poor, but
Just
This,
think of Wayne Gretzky. You know, his name is that's the same way you pronounce those names that
oh yeah,
are
yeah.
with CKI in the end.
Okay, Gretzky, yeah,
Yeah,
Kavatsky, yeah.
yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
right.
cool. So yeah, we may get that fight at some point. I mean, I think it'll do numbers over there in the UK just by virtue of the fact that you
Mm,
have two UK fighters there.
yeah.
So that would make sense, and that will add some extra buzz to cruiserweight, which, like you said, has been a pretty solid division for a long period of time. And yeah, and they've
Mm,
gotten when they've been able to get the platform, we've usually seen a number of good fights from them. So hopefully that
yeah.
happens. I'd be looking forward to it.
Mm,
And
yeah, that's true.
yeah, and right here, Rodolfo had mentioned Plant versus Benavidez, Canelo fighting the winner
Yeah.
of that. I know we were going to get to some of the coming stuff, but since we're here already, of course, Caleb Plant and David Benavidez are going to be fighting each other. I
Wow.
believe it's
Hmm.
in January or February, something like that. I
I
can't
didn't
remember
know that.
exactly.
I
Yes, so
didn't
this
know.
fight has been signed. I can't remember exactly when it's happened, but it's seemingly been signed and it's a done deal. And the two are going to be facing off here very soon. And PBC had already secured a number of dates. I remember Alex Vega, shout out Big Fish Vega. He had posted something showing the dates that PBC had secured for some venues early in 2023. So I guess this might fit. It might actually fit into one of those slots. I can't remember the date, but it's going to be Benavidez Plant. So that one should be very interesting. Of course, Plant
Yeah.
looked great his last time out. The way he was able to
Yeah.
take out uh, Anthony Durrell
Right.
in highlight reel fashion with the knockout that he was able to land. That left hook started low and then came over the top. And man, that was a brutal one. Highlight reel knockout of the year candidate right there. And Plant looked very good in that fight. And so David Benavidez, I'm trying to remember who he fought last. I'm gonna have to look it up, but we all know what David Benavidez brings to the table. He's one of the top guys at 168 pounds. Some view him as the top guy at 168 pounds, despite Canelo being there. So, what do you think of Plant versus Benavidez and the prospect of
Hmm.
them fighting the winner, or the winner fighting Canelo? And I know that many people in the odds themselves are going to be on the side of David Benavidez.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Plant will have to, adopt a different kind of strategy in the fight because, if he tries to slug it out too much or, tries to knock him out, that's, Benavides is just such a
Oh yeah,
whirlwind kind of fighter,
we
So,
just went through a sound change. Did you change your sound up?
yeah, I put some, headphones,
Oh,
small
okay,
headphones.
okay, okay. I was just trying to double check and make sure because I was like, hold up, something's different. All right, good to
Yeah,
go.
so, or I can hear myself too
Oh
well.
yeah, you don't want that.
No, I think Plant can win if he really boxes, cleverly, but it will be a tough fight. I mean, for both guys, but I don't know. I would maybe favor Benavides right now.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
many will. I think many certainly will. And Benavidez in his last fight, he took out David Lemieux.
Yeah,
That was yeah, he pretty much gave it to Lemieux, who had a couple of moments in the fight, but Lemieux, of course, probably isn't best suited at 168 pounds. His ideal weight might have been around 160 primarily, but
yeah,
certainly
big
Lemieux
punch.
or Benavidez was a tough task for Lemieux for sure. So
Hmm.
so yeah, that makes the prospects pretty interesting. So Plant could actually trouble trouble Benavidez to a certain degree, and I think that will allow for I think that will allow for a pretty interesting fight, a
Yeah,
fight that could have ebbs and flows and could swing in varying ways. It's going to be that aggressive style of Benavidez coming forward versus that box and move style of Caleb Plant. And I
Yeah.
think that'll be interesting. Now,
Mm.
this mic on these headphones, this picks up everything, breathing and all.
Really?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm picking up
That's
all
good.
of that. You might be
All right.
better suited with your previous, whatever your previous connection was.
Without headphones, you mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it picks up a lot of feedback.
all right. Yeah, I've been so I breathe too loud. It's like I'm gonna take them off.
All right, good to go.
No, I was just thinking. On. I was just thinking to be better for.
Oh no, no, no. See this right here sounds good right here. I think that one is like
Yeah,
they had a
um,
it's like they
yeah,
had a turbo sound mode and it was picking up
that's the
everything.
second one. Yeah,
Good to go though. But yeah, Benavidez versus Plant, that's happening. Uh
it's fun. Uh-huh.
so yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So
Boz
that
is
was
getting
I
back up and
found
running here.
the second one.
All right,
Got
good to go.
dirty, Yeah.
All right, we got you.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, you're coming through proper now, so you're good to go.
yeah. Yeah, that one was, it's a bit intense because it's the AirPods, it's the modern technology.
Oh yeah, 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 certainly, certainly. Rodolfo says Vaz got all type of headphones, wireless and
Yeah,
wired.
I do
Yeah,
now,
certainly.
yeah, since last year.
Yeah, certainly. But this one, hey, this one's picking up just fine right here. So
Mm,
no biggie in that regard. Now on this same card that was over there in Abu Dhabi, we had
mm,
Chantell Cameron take on Jessica
yeah,
McCaskill in a super lightweight 10 round title affair. Now I was watching this. I didn't get to see it the way I
I
wanted to
did.
see it because I was at an event
Well,
and I had it
you
on my
didn't miss
phone.
much. You didn't miss
Yeah.
much. It wasn't a pretty fight at all.
Yeah, the bits and pieces I did see, I saw that McCaskill was coming for winging her shots in there, and I didn't see her land anything of significance on Chantell Cameron in the early part of that fight. And of course, Cameron, she's a bit more poised in the way that she boxed from a stylistic standpoint. So,
Yeah.
from what I gathered and what I saw, a lot of shots that McCaskill was throwing, they were missing and they weren't
Mm,
landing cleanly. And I saw that Chantell Cameron picked up the decision, and it seemed to be one that even from the looks of McCaskill, she was kind of knowing that it was likely going to be in Chantell Cameron's favor either. Now, did you
yeah.
catch that fight?
Yeah, I did actually.
Okay.
McCaskill, she really looked completely out of balance. In the first 5 or so rounds, she was not not doing well. But then I thought her best rounds of the fight were the three last rounds. And then I think Chantel maybe got a little tired, or I don't know what happened, but McCaskill looked better in those last couple, 2 3 rounds.
Okay.
At least better than before. And even though Cameron was still landing punches, but yeah, I think those scores were rather fair. Maybe I wouldn't have given her McCaskill 4 rounds, but three, that was fair. I thought the first scorecards. But it
Okay.
was it was a very weird fight because McCaskill has such an unorthodox style,
She
coming
does.
forward and moving like a very very strange way, very awkward kind of fighter.
Yeah, yeah, she does have a tough, rough and tumble style, and she can have
Yeah,
her head down, almost like the great Henry Armstrong. He kind of was
yeah,
looking at your feet and all that stuff. Uh,
yeah.
Shout out to
She was,
Scrapbook Boxing. He has a good story on that right now on his page on the great Henry Armstrong. But
yeah,
yeah, McCaskill kind of has that style where she's looking down, but her punches sometimes come from wide and
Yeah,
wild angles, but
but
when they land, they're pretty effective.
she got hit a lot especially in the first 5, 6 rounds. She was constantly tagged, by Cameron, and she clearly lost that fight. Of course, no doubt about it, no doubt. And
Okay.
but at least in the end, in the last few rounds, she kind of redeemed uh, her performance a bit. Yeah,
Okay, cool. Well, all right, good to go. Yeah, I'm gonna try and catch it just while I'm sitting down and watching it more. So, but that's good, fair assessment there. So,
mhm.
McCaskill was coming down from 147, so McCaskill still is
Yeah,
the undisputed champion at 147 pounds, and we'll see. So I'd imagine she's going to be going back up there and probably defend those titles. Of course, Chantell Cameron, she moves on and maybe this
yeah,
enters her in the sweepstakes of a potential fight with the likes of Katie Taylor or someone of that nature if they move up
yeah,
to 140, which doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility. But of course, Taylor's going to be racked up with the potential Serrano matchup. But that being said, Chantelle Cameron just put herself right in line there with the other names in or around
mm.
140 pounds. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's right. I think that fight with Katie Taylor would have been massive in UK, especially,
Yeah,
of course. And I mean, Chantel is now the undisputed champion, actually. So now we've got so many undisputed champions, so many more than ever before. Even especially in female boxing, also in male. Boxing. We got Devin Haney at lightweight. We got Josh Taylor at super lightweight. We got
oh
Jamal
yeah.
Charlo at super welterweight. Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
know if
forgot.
that's
I forgot that was undisputed because there were three vacant titles on the line in that fight between McCaskill and Cameron. Now the
yeah.
IBO is one of those vacant titles. It's not recognized as one of the major ones, but it's still
No.
out there and in mention often.
Yeah.
So you
It's
know,
gaining. It's gaining strength, I guess.
yeah, yeah, I would say so as well. But yes, so there was also the vacant IB or the vacant
Oh
WBA and the
yeah.
vacant WBO super lightweight title online. That's pretty crazy.
Right.
You get the opportunity at these vacant titles for undisputed claim. So interesting,
Yeah.
right?
IBA is just nothing, really worthless. I would say.
Yeah, then there's the IBU and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah.
WBU. Well, that was before. No
Oh
more.
yeah, and you know what? I'm looking here, Kaylee Reese, and they were mentioning Kaylee Reese because she did have some
Oh
titles
yeah.
when she defeated Jessica Camara. Shout out to Jessica Camara, and Jessica Camara is pretty good. So
Yeah.
maybe Jessica Camara she jumps into the mix there, but
Mm,
Kaylee Reese, I guess, is dealing with some type of health issue, and she wasn't able. I guess that's why she didn't have the title. So that's why those vacant titles were available. I'm guessing, which is
she's
interesting.
she's a friend of Ebony Bridges. I know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's of native descent, Native American.
Oh yeah.
She
Yeah.
does a lot in that regard,
Mm,
activist in that regard. So that's good stuff. So
yeah.
maybe Kaylee Reese, once she's back well or whatever, or gets over what she's going through, she's in the mix there. You have Jessica Camara, who fights out of Canada. She's in the mix.
Camara. I don't know
Yeah,
if I
Jessica
heard.
Camara.
I don't
She's
know if
worth
I
checking
heard
out.
of
She's pretty
her.
solid. She lost
Right.
in her last fight against Kelly Reese, as a matter of fact. Now, I thought
Uh,
that Jessica Camara pulled it off. I had Camara up by a couple of
mm,
rounds, but it was a very close fight, and Kaylee Reese ended up getting the decision. Camara, she's
mm,
fought recently, as a matter of fact, but she's still putting in that work. And I think that she's still a player there. Yeah, she's won twice since then. She fought back in September. That was her last fight. She fought in August and September. Um,
right.
Oh, she fought
Mm,
someone Tierra Brown fought as well, Simone Da Silva. So we'll see what
mm,
happens here. 140. I think one of those fights is going to materialize, but maybe between Kaylee Reese and Chantell Cameron. That will be an interesting one. So we'll certainly
mm.
see what's in store. Now, excuse me.
And
Oh yeah, you're gonna go.
No.
Okay. I was gonna mention the other fight that was the big fight on that card was Rakimov versus
Yeah.
Barrett, Zelfa Barrett. Now, of course, like I said, I didn't get to see it straight on, but I know that the early part of the fight it seemed to be all
The best fight.
Zalfa Barrett for the most
Yeah.
part,
The
and
best
then
fight I thought on that card. Really, the best.
okay,
Mm.
then Rakimov came on. So, what were your thoughts surrounding it overall?
Yeah, I was surprised, by Barrett. He really did well in the first 4 rounds, but it was, I guess, his longer arms. He had a big advantage there. I think if he had been a really harder puncher, he might have
Yeah,
even ended the fight in the third round. He put Rakimov down in the third round, and also before that, a few times he really caught him well, but he just not. He's a rather average puncher. So,
yeah,
but I think Rakimov was just taken by surprise how good, how also precise a puncher Barrett is.
yeah,
He's very good when it comes. Also as a counter puncher. But
yeah.
after the fourth round, Rakimov just started punishing him, and he just broke him down until in the ninth round, Barrett was all spent and he started looking like he had some kind of leg injury, but no, he didn't. Obviously, he just
Yeah,
got tired, from all those punches he had taken, and that was it.
yeah, and not being able to move the
Yeah,
way he was moving early on through the entirety of the fight.
yeah,
So Rakimov, man, he makes a statement. He gets that stoppage victory over Barrett and
he's a
Barrett.
beast.
Yeah,
I mean, all
man.
those punches, he would just took them all. I mean, like, and jumped right up straight up. Went at it straight after getting hit, like, and dropped and all that.
Yeah. So hey, that's a statement right there. So this was super featherweight, so 130 pounds. So that makes it the
Yeah,
130-pound division pretty interesting. He's a
and
name up there.
I might add,
Navarrete's there.
he became the first world champion in boxing from Tajikistan. So
Oh
that
yeah,
was
that is
congratulations.
yes. Shout out to that Tajikistan. We
Yeah,
got a world champion right here in
mhm.
2022, baby. Before the year's out, it's going
Yep.
down in history. So he's 16-0 with one draw, 13 of his victories by way of
Mm.
stoppage.
I
So
think
yeah, he's legit.
he's now 17, because he was 16,
Oh
coming
yeah,
into this fight.
correct.
So
So BoxRec hasn't
yeah,
updated it yet, but yes, you're
yeah,
right. 17-0.
sloppy boxer.
So a vacant IBF title was on the line. So now I know that Navarrete is at 130. Of course, that fight
Oh yeah.
happening.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's going to happen, or is Navarrete or is Navarrete at featherweight?
Well,
I
I
feel
think
like he went to 130, right?
he is a featherweight, but who else is at
But
130?
so they still, yeah, of course, BoxRec's rankings they can be iffy. They still have Shakir listed here, but we know that
Oh
Shakir
yeah.
is no longer going to be there.
I
So
wonder
Oscar
about that.
Valdez is there.
Oh yeah, right.
But
That's
that fight with Shakir Stevenson and I believe the wars over the years in general probably have taken a lot out of Oscar Valdez.
yeah.
Oshaki Foster, who I like, I haven't. I think Oshaki Foster is a very, very good boxer, uh, and he has a potential of being someone
Hmm.
who can mix it up there. Then you have Hector Garcia, who recently won one of the titles, um,
Hmm.
and then
But
Joe
I also
Cordina.
think maybe the other Tajik fighter, the Yakubo, he was also maybe 130, isn't he? Perhaps. Yeah.
Um, that might be. But you know what? Now that I think about it, it's gonna be Joe Cordina because that belt was
Oh
vacant because
yeah.
IBF stripped it from Joe Cordina because he
Yeah.
injured his hand. So
That's a
that's
good
who he's gonna
fight.
be taking on next. Yeah, that will be a good one because Cordina he looks to be the goods,
Hmm.
and we'll see if he can. Well, we know that at least from what uh, Barrett was able to do, if you
That
mix it
was
up
some.
and box him, you can do pretty well boxing wise. It's just a matter of will you be able to gain his respect and keep him off of you the entire fight. But
Yeah.
Cordina, he's better than Barrett. He looks to have
Yeah.
that world-class type talent. So, and we know he has the experience from his time in the amateurs as well, as far as the skill set, that type of experience in terms of learning the tricks of the trade. So, yeah, he could prove to be a real problem for Rakimov. So, I'd be looking forward to that fight.
We know now that he can also punch, after his knockout in the last fight.
Man, and he can set them up perfectly because that was a perfect setup. The way he was able to pull that off.
Yeah,
against Igawa.
Yeah, I really like Cordina. He looks like a really pretty solid guy. Pretty nice and all that, charming guy, and I think he's got a pretty bright future ahead of him. And yeah, I hope. I don't know what happens in that fight with Rakimov. It's pretty hard to predict because Rakimov seems to be a fighter that really moves well. I mean, moves around a lot and can move pretty well and can take punches. Even though I know, as I said, Zalfa Barrett is not.
Yeah, he's not a big puncher.
No. So I don't know how well he will take Cordina's best punches. But we will see. Hopefully, so I know that it will be a good fight as long as it lasts. Yeah.
I'm with you there. So, hey, bright future as far as that matchup in 2023. Now, Rodolfo Rivera says seems like the IBO is being pushed hard in the UK. Yeah, certainly did. He said the IBA, the belt was actually in contention of being the fourth major world title in the early 2000s. I think even De La Hoya held it.
Fernando Vargas, he did. I know that he held that belt.
Vargas as well.
Yeah.
Good stuff. IBA, shout out to the IBA. I'm guessing International Boxing Association or something.
But, it's not International Basketball Association.
Oh yeah, it could be that too. But cool.
Baseball.
Now, next up, we wanted to discuss the guy who I think had the performance of the night in the fight of the night, which was David Morrell taking on.
That one I didn't see. Yeah.
Okay. David Morrell, he took on Yerbusinoli.
Oh yeah,
Yerbusinoli.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yerbusinoli. This was a WBA World Super Middleweight Championship title fight. So you weren't able to catch it?
No.
Okay, that's one worth looking at.
Yeah,
that's one worth looking at. Now, David Morrell, we know he's of that Cuban school of thought, that Cuban school of training. And does he look freaking good. That's all I had to say. You'll find out when you watch it. I mean, Yerbusinoli, he was coming in undefeated. One of these guys, man, he's tough. So the story of this fight was just that David Morrell, man, he's on one of those elite level skill wise. I mean, he just seems to be nearly the total package, even at 24 years of age and only about 7 fights in. So he just basically broke down and destroyed Yerbusinoli through just pure boxing for the majority of the fight. Now, Yerbusinoli, and I think I'm saying his name right, but he was actually game. He was a tough guy, and you could tell that he's skilled, but Morrell was just too quick for him. And the way Morrell was blasting off shots, they were just sharp. I mean, he had this guy busted up, and he dropped him multiple times during the fight. He ended up getting a stoppage in the 12th and final round, and I believe this was the third or fourth time maybe that Morrell had gone 12. I think it was the third time, but he got the stoppage in this particular case. And I mean, he just did it in brilliant fashion. I mean, it was just total destruction from my standpoint. And that's not to say that Yerbusinoli didn't have moments, but David Morrell, he can really put his punches together. He seems to be a special fighter there at 168, and he's only 24 years of age. And after this performance, I think many people will throw him in the mix right there with Canelo, David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, all of them. I think he's right there. I said that after his last fight, but some people felt it was too early for him. But I'm telling you, David Morrell Jr., he has that pound for pound type of package
Hopefully,
that is
yeah.
associated and tied with him. So
I think
that's the fight you have to check out.
he should get his credit now, probably. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
those Cubans they are just cut of a different cloth when it comes to boxing. It's like
yeah.
amazing the abilities. That's cool. Boxing's cool.
And this was his eighth fight, So this was his eighth fight. So
Right.
Eidos Bersanoli, he was coming in 16-0 with 11 knockouts.
I
And
like
man,
to. Yeah, maybe he should fight Berlanga next. Morrell.
oh, who David Morrell or
Yeah.
they wouldn't dare throw Belanga in there with them.
Yeah, I don't think so. But
Top rank
that,
wouldn't dare do that right there. And so Morrell is
yeah.
PBC. I
All
know
right.
that's not going to happen. They would derail the complete hype train of Berlanga right there. So I know that one is not going
Right.
to happen. But man, David Morrell, he looks to be the goods. And
Hmm.
that was his eighth fight. Crazy. 8 fights, 7 stoppages. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that is
that's
crazy.
mean.
So he might have only gone the distance once, actually. Let me see. Yeah, so he only went the distance once. So that was his second time going 12 rounds, as a matter of fact. And he went 12 rounds against Lennox Allen. This was in 2020. But he's a player there at 168 pounds, and he's going to be a tough outing for anyone. He's just super skilled. And, sometimes with some of the Cuban fighters, they'll have to kind of remove that mindset, that amateur style and mindset from their
Yeah.
arsenal. But he seemed to be ready to go from day one, and he slowly built up. And he
Yeah.
showed, I think, with this stoppage that it doesn't matter what round I'm in, I can still do what I need to do to be able to pull off a victory, and I can close impressively. And he looks like he's built for that, being able to just be a star. And he had some moments where Bersanoli was coming forward, and he was able to land some stuff. It seemed as Morrell started to tire a bit, but Morrell found his second win, and he really never really never laid down. And man, I think the fight in itself will speak more than what I can say here than just trying to present what happened. So that is one you definitely have to check out.
How long? Which round did that end in?
The
Did you
12th,
say?
it ended up being a 12th round stoppage.
Wow.
12th round. I
That's
mean,
not very
you,
easy to
no, it's
accomplish.
not. And the combination he took Bersanoli out with, brilliant. Just impressive. His impressive performance. So I think he had the performance of the night based on everything that I had saw so far this weekend. He seemed to have the performance of the night.
It was
Cool.
kind of like I can only remember that Garcia versus Doherty, because that was like 12th round knockout. That was one hell of a fight, also.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, that was a good. That
So
was a good one.
Garcia is at heavyweight now. That's right.
Yeah, and it's like he lost all buzz and momentum. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's now also kind. I don't know how old
Don't
he is,
really
but
even mention him. We don't really mention him anymore, and he's certainly not mentioned in a serious manner at heavyweight.
no,
So,
he's not.
so
That's a
yeah,
shame. After that
yeah.
Usyk fight, he just lost, a lot of his momentum and stature, And
Yeah.
yeah, because I also expected him to do better. I mean, even though it's unfair to really, kind of, I would say, put him down for that, because Usyk is since been proven as one of the best in
Yeah,
in the
yeah, without a
world,
doubt.
and
Without
of
a
the
doubt.
last kind of 30 years or something. So,
Yeah. You're right.
but yeah, I thought he could have done more, a little bit more in that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm with you there. I'm certainly with you there. Rodolfo Rivera says the other guy had a chin of steel. Hope he's okay because Morrell had to help him get up. Yeah, that is true. He did have to help him get up. I know they took him out of there, out back on the stretcher. That might have been protocol though. But that being said, he took a lot of punishment throughout that fight. To last 12 rounds with the amount of punishment he was taking, man, that can damage you, and he could. It'll be interesting
Yeah,
to see if he's still the same fighter, because it's certainly one of those performances in which
scary.
it can
Mm.
your punch resistance can be questioned as you move forward. And you know how we've seen some guys, it just seems like, hey, they were the next thing, and then they take a loss in such a dramatic fashion, and then they can never kind of regain that mental piece of it
Yeah,
back.
of
And
course.
he was tough, like Rodolfo was saying, he was tough, but the
Yeah,
punishment he was taking was next level.
he's from Kazakhstan, right?
Yeah, I
I
believe that
think.
is the case.
Yeah,
Kazakhstan, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that's a pretty, a big country, which is pretty harsh. I mean, not very populated, so the
Hmm.
climate is also rather harsh. So people are usually tough in those kind of countries. There.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, certainly. And in this case, he might have been a little too tough for his own good in some regards.
Right.
But in those cases, the corner has to step in as well. It is not a case that
Yeah.
he was just completely out of it, but there were points in which, yeah, he was just taking so much punishment that,
Mm.
yeah,
We
it's
have
just he was
seen
bloody and everything, you know.
we've seen it before. Corner not doing his job. I know what they are hoping for when their fighter is like being so beaten up. When they send him out for only one more round. Or come on, in that one more round, he can be killed, right? So
Yeah. And I think this was kind of one of those type situations. It could have been far worse. And I haven't seen what the update is as of like today or whatever. But hopefully, as Rodolfo mentioned, he's doing well, because yeah, he took a lot of punishment in that fight, and he never really was in it. That's the thing about
mm,
it. I think you could argue that uh, Morrell won probably 10 of the 12 rounds, like 9 to 10 of the 12 rounds. And
mm,
I think that, speaks volumes in itself.
yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't scoring it, but that's just from what I kind of recall. Yeah, it was
I
tough
think
stuff.
now Canelo is saying after having seen that, he's saying like, "Oh no, I'm not going back to 168. Do whatever you can. I don't want to fight this guy."
Yeah,
I
some
just,
people feel Morrell wasn't ready for Canelo. I don't know. I think he's ready. I think
yeah,
he's gonna get better too. I think because he's 24. I mean, but if you really look at it in history, around 24, you had a lot of guys making these top level fights. They
yeah,
were on top of their game.
yeah,
Uh, Ali, before he got that little ban or whatever and
yeah.
couldn't get his license, he was about 24, right?
He
And
was,
then
yeah, he was at his best, at his peak.
yeah, and then he had to miss 3 years pretty much of being able to fight. So
Yeah,
24 is that prime right time. I mean, you
yeah.
start to just see that separation, and David Morrell is showing that separations, much like some of the other greats of the past have. So it'll be
You
good
know,
to see.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, if you are not, haven't become a complete fighter, like by the age of 25, then you will never be. That's the sign,
Yeah,
usually.
yeah. Certainly,
Mm.
certainly, that can play in there. And then you have some fighters who are better, older, but that comes with experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. You had. I was just thinking about a guy but that was also down to change of trainer. Also, some guys have become better at boxing. They were pure punchers and sluggers and all that. Like for instance, Dennis Andrews, that guy from the '80s, light heavyweight champion.
Dennis Andrews. I don't
Yeah.
recall him.
Well, anyway, also Lennox Lewis, you might say, got better after Manny Stewart started training him.
Yeah, that is true. Hey, he got Vlad punching better as well, punching more
Yeah,
using his left hook.
yeah, yeah,
Manny did, and
yeah. I remember that combination he threw against Mercer. I mean, only a guy like Mercer could have just taken that. But that was so beautiful.
oh yeah,
Like left, right, uppercut, left, right. That was beautiful to
yeah.
watch.
Lennox was a beasting.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was like 2, 3, at least 6 punches. I think probably. And
yeah,
Mercer just, that crazy he's just shook them
yeah.
off.
He's always had a chin on him, right? He could take
Yeah,
some
and he
punches.
also could punch. I think he
Yeah,
doesn't get
he could
enough
punch too.
credit for his punching power. He was really the way he
Yeah,
knocked out Tommy Morrison and
yeah, that
who
was a brutal
else?
one right there.
Yeah, and also the other guy, Damiani. He was behind, and then he just lands one punch, breaks his nose, and that's it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, there were some fights where he didn't quite put it all together, but when he was on his game, man, he was tough outie.
yeah,
Very,
yeah.
very one of the
Yeah,
toughest.
that's right. He wasn't always really motivated to train, or
Yeah,
So that's
yeah. So yeah, interesting stuff. Now, also on this card, we got to talk about your guy Banana, uh, Jason
Banana.
Rosario.
He was
Jason
there also.
Rosario. Yeah, so he's fighting now. We were talking about him a week or so ago, I believe it was, and the fact that he had rattled off a few wins since that loss to Erickson Lubin, those back-to-back losses actually, Charlo then Lubin, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
he went to the Dominican Republic and he rattled off 3 knockout wins over the course of that period from 2021 till July of 2022. So he had last fought in July. So he fought last night against a guy by the name of Brian Mendoza, who looked
yeah.
familiar to me, but I can't 100% with
Yeah,
certainty
you mentioned
pinpoint him.
him. I think the last
Yeah,
time you mentioned.
he beat Thomas Lamana. I know Thomas
Lamana.
Lamana. I can't remember if I saw that. And he had 2 losses, one in 2019 to Larry Gomez, and then 2021 against Jesus Ramos. Jesus Ramos, I know Ramos. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
so Ramos, yeah, I know Ramos actually. So he was taking on Jason Rosario, and of course we know Jason Rosario. He has some good moments, or he's had some good performances in his career. He's also had some bad performances in his career, and in this case, he looked pretty good up until a certain point, but he once again got dropped by virtue of a shot to the body, and he was able to get up, and ultimately he ended up catching an uppercut that pretty much ended the fight for him. So this Mendoza was able to take out Rosario, and
wow.
as far as I'm concerned, so you'll probably see the highlights and stuff sitting out there.
Yeah.
So
So he's
Banana, yeah,
he's
uh,
obviously really deteriorated after those losses to Charlo
yes,
and who else was it? Yeah, Lubin. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, he's only 27, but
Yeah, that's
man,
a
he
shame. I know he has a family, all that, but yeah, who doesn't have really? Who doesn't? Many others do, but
yeah,
yeah,
something's not right.
he's from Dominican Republic, right?
Yeah, he's from the Dominican Republic. He had lost to Nathaniel Gallimore in 2017 too.
That's
He
right.
got
I
stopped by
remember.
him.
Uh,
So
hmm.
yeah, but I just wanted to bring up Banana because I don't know what he's gonna do next, but
Yeah,
he's
maybe.
not gonna be able to beat anyone top level because of the
Yeah,
fact that
he should.
Charlo dropped him with a jab to the body,
Yeah,
and it pretty much had him stretched out. And
yeah. I
now
was
with this
thinking
loss,
about
yeah,
about that. Charles doesn't usually. I mean, in his best fight, top fights, he usually didn't knock out anybody until like late in the fight, but he was able to get him out in 8 rounds. So that was
yeah,
a sign
yeah.
that it was. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Rosario is usually good for a couple of rounds, and then he just
Yeah,
seems to lose it. So I knew that those 3 wins he had in the Dominican Republic could be questioned. There were just kind of some fights, I'm sure, just for him to get back to his winning ways to a certain degree.
yeah,
But on paper, he should have beat Mendoza, and in actuality, Mendoza he had nothing glaring and overwhelming about him in the fight. He was pretty much just taking his time, and he just ended up landing some pretty clean shots that ended up stopping Rosario in his tracks. So Rosario goes down again, and maybe he goes back to fighting in the Dominican Republic. But of
yeah.
course, yeah, he's
Maybe.
he's certainly further away from that championship title he had won not too long ago. Probably
It's
further
kind
away
of
than he'll ever be.
reminds reminds me of his countryman. I was telling you about once that guy called Julio Cesar Green. He only had one big winner. That was against William Joppy.
Okay, big
After
happy.
he lost the Joppy trilogy, he was like, he didn't beat anybody good after that. Even though he got unlucky against Byron Mitchell. I know. I saw that
Okay.
fight. He was like he put Mitchell down twice, and then after that he got cut, and the fight had to be stopped like in the fourth round.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sucks.
yeah. So these guys, I don't know, really Dominicans seldom really last. I mean, their best fighters have seldom lasted really long. As world class on world stage. Anyway, yeah. I don't know why, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, one of those things, man. One of those
Mm.
things, without a
That
doubt.
guy, I guess Guzman is the one that lasted longest, probably.
Joan Guzman,
Yeah,
he had some up and down with his weight, of course.
yeah. That's also another thing. Yeah, he couldn't be beaten, by anybody for a long time. But
Yeah,
his weight is what beat
coming in
him.
overweight and all that stuff. But yeah, he was super talented for sure.
Oh yeah, that's why it's such a shame. He beat, I remember, Ali Funika twice, but he
Oh yeah,
couldn't.
yeah.
He couldn't have
Okay.
the belt, because he came overweight.
Yeah, yeah. That was the story of the latter part of his career for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Some guys, you gotta. And for Rosario, they say he loses a bunch of weight to get down, and maybe that affects him. But he's certainly
Yeah, maybe.
acceptable to the body. And once Mendoza realized that, he was kind of just aiming towards that, and I think
Mm,
that's what led to him being able to land that uppercut because Rosario was too worried about the body and got caught. Bloop, it was done.
maybe he should just move up, like 160 or something. But I don't think that would be too. That wouldn't solve all his problems.
No, no,
Probably.
no, definitely not, definitely not. So we'll see where he goes from here. Now,
Yeah,
Nathaniel Gallimore, I know he lost on here apparently very clearly to
Gallimore. That's
yeah,
a
he's
really
a fighter.
nice name,
Yeah,
Gallimore.
yeah. He's a Jamaican fighter. He's been in with a lot of guys. He's just sort of getting to that journeyman status at this point, though, as far
Mm.
as losing all of the big fights. But he fought and he lost to a guy whose name I can't even pronounce. I know it's Zerkazin or something like that. But I remember seeing only a couple of bits and pieces, so I need to go back and watch it. But
Hmm.
he won pretty
Gallimore,
much
Zerkazin.
convincingly.
Maybe I don't know if I heard of this guy. Huh.
Yeah, he's been Gallimore. He's been in there with Lubin. He's been in there with
Yeah, he's like a
uh,
solid fighter, just not
yeah,
really
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
top notch.
yeah.
More like
Correct.
a B fighter. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So he's still a tough name that's out there, especially if
Yeah.
you're coming up and trying to get in contention.
Hmm.
Uh, and then on Tuesday there was a card in Japan, so I haven't seen this one. I still need to watch this. But Hiroshi Kayaguchi, he lost to Teraji.
But yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if I'm saying that right, but
That
Kayaguchi
was
got
like
stopped.
yeah.
Kenshiro Teraji, he stopped. He stopped Kayaguchi in the what round
Seven,
was this?
seven.
Okay, seventh round.
Yeah,
I
that
remember seeing a
was.
highlight of that stoppage, but I need to see the actual fight.
Hmm. Yeah, that was. I heard just that was really a great performance. I didn't see it either, So
Yeah, yeah. So some homework there, some homework had to do in
yeah.
that regard.
Hmm.
Myself included. I'm looking Nakatani won or lost the Nakatani that fought Lomachenko and Lopez. He lost to Yoshino. There's another Nakatani who pulled off a victory. It looks like.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
Japanese
oh,
boxing
then
is also,
yeah,
it has always been strong, but not always as strong. I
then
guess
Jonathan
now,
Gonzalez picked up a win as well, who is
yeah.
the only Puerto Rican champion
All right.
today.
Hmm.
Jonathan Gonzalez. So shout out to him. He pulled off another
Yeah.
victories, so he keeps his titles. So good stuff. But yeah, that was pretty much the majority of the stuff for the weekend. Some stuff still need to go back and check out. I know you
Mm.
mentioned the same, so we'll see how it goes. But thinking about what's coming up, really quick, let's take a look here. I know we talked about Benavidez Plant being in the mix, but here more so in the immediate time, we're gonna have Sonny Edwards gonna be fighting next week against, I believe, Rene Alvarado. Let me see. No, Felix Alvarado, brother of
Yeah,
Rene Alvarado. So I think Edwards is certainly going to be the favorite in that fight.
yeah, he's very good.
We're going to have this guy by the name of Ball. We've talked about him before. Nick Ball. He's a UK guy. He's going to be returning.
Cool.
Yeah, I think he beat Isaac Lowe maybe or
Oh
something like
yeah, right.
that. I think he beat Isaac Lowe.
Yeah, he did. I think so. Yeah, Big Bull. Yeah, now I'm starting to remember. Yeah, that's right.
Like a little firecracker of a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to be fighting someone by the name of Pedroza. Yeah, he did to beat Isaac Lowe, and then he beat someone else. So I don't know this Pedroza guy, but it looks like a Dominican fighter.
Not Eusebio Pedrosa. He's already there.
Yeah, so
He
Ball's
was one
going
hell
to
of a fighter. I mean.
Yeah.
From Panama. Panama Red. I was just remembering just some stuff, a movie quote actually. Somebody goes like makes fun of this guy who is from New Orleans, makes fun of his accent.
Oh,
He
yeah.
says, "Panama Red, I'm gonna get you, Panama Red."
Gotcha. Yeah, New Orleans. Shout out to New Orleans. They got an accent down there for sure.
I want to give a shout out to that. There's a kind of podcast or something like that on Instagram with Cynthia Conte and one more.
Okay,
I forgot.
Cynthia
I don't
Conte.
know. Yeah, it's called like Women Talk Boxing or something.
Okay.
So, shout out to that. It's very nice, very relaxed kind of show, where they
All right.
read a lot of those comments and questions that we post.
Okay, cool. Shout out Cynthia Conte in the podcast. I have to check that out without a doubt. See how it goes. But yeah, that's the main stuff there. David Adelaide, he's gonna be fighting. I don't know. We need to see him as he
Adelaide.
continues to develop. I haven't seen anything overly impressive about him as of yet. But that being said, we'll see how he continues to develop. So he's going to be fighting then Alam Kanuli, a.k.a. Janabek.
Oh, yeah. Janabek,
He's going to be taking on Denzel Bentley on next Saturday.
The new British hype.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's going to be tough sledding for Bentley without a doubt, but we'll see how he does.
So many fighters, to keep up with, it's becoming really tiresome.
Oh, yeah, and Siniesta Estrada is going to be making a return as well at minimum weight. Okay, so she went down. Or she's been around there, but I feel like she went down.
Your mom, I think he's saying hello.
Oh, yeah, hello, mother says, hi, guys. Happy blessed Sunday. Hello, thank you. Appreciate you dropping in. We're wrapping things up here. Certainly wrapping things up, but we're talking about what's coming up. Montana Love's going to be headlining the card. So that's going to be on DAZN. And, of course, the Janovic fights are going to be on ESPN+.
Yeah, DAZN is down. Yeah.
And Natasha Jonas is going to be taking on Marie-Eve Dicaire, which I'm looking forward to that one. Favorite Natasha Jonas, of course, Miss GB. Marie-Eve Dicaire is a Canadian fighter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I heard of her. Yeah, that's right.
She lost to Carissa Shields. That's been her only loss thus far. But I think I favor Natasha Jonas, 154. She looks pretty good at 154. And I just think she has a bit more to her game than Dicaire in actuality. I met Dicaire once in New York.
Yeah.
I didn't know who she was at the time, though.
It's kind of strange that Montreal has become like, the hotbed of Canadian boxing because, there are many others. I mean, of course, British people are also very interested in boxing, but Toronto has never really been, so big. For instance, or Vancouver. It's always been the French, Montreal. That's been,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
also where many of the best fighters came from. And even Arturo Gatti, like, kind of grew up there, I believe, in
Oh, okay.
Montreal, and some
Yeah.
others. The Hiltons, yeah, that's right. The Hiltons, fighting
Okay.
Hiltons. You heard
Okay,
of
cool.
them, right?
Fighting
You know,
Hiltons.
yeah, Matthew and Dave and
No, I
Alex.
don't. No,
Well,
I was
anyway,
thinking of the other Hiltons, like Paris Hilton,
oh no, no,
Nikki
no.
Hilton, all of those. I know
Yeah,
I'm familiar with them.
Matthew, he was like the champion for a while in late 80s. Yeah, at
Okay.
super light, super welterweight.
Super
Sorry.
welter. Okay, so
Yeah, he was
154.
like very like strong action fighter, but then he was drinking too much, and his career kind of
Kind
went
of went.
downwards pretty fast.
Well, okay. I had to
Mm.
check them out. The Fighting Hilton. So yeah, but Montreal, yeah, that's a nice
Mm.
spot, or nice in general as far as
Yeah,
yeah, a place to visit. I want to
yeah,
catch some boxing there. I've only been there once, but I want to get back and maybe catch some boxing there. I think that's where Yvonne
yeah.
Michelle is, who's the promoter who does a lot of Canadian cards,
Oh
particularly
yeah,
those
and
in
Eric
Montreal.
Eric Lucas.
Eric
He was
Lucas.
also the champion for a while at super middleweight. Mm.
Okay, yeah, that name seems familiar.
Mm.
But yeah,
Luca, as they pronounce it, Luca, I think.
Lucas. But yeah, Montreal is a fight city.
Yeah,
So
they really like invest a lot in boxing, obviously.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's good stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, that's the main stuff we had here. Of course, this is a good weekend. Still some more to catch up with. We mentioned that stuff
Yeah,
for next week, and we'll have to check back in to discuss what is to be coming thereafter. But I'd imagine these fights coming up this weekend should be pretty interesting, at least from
mm.
paper matchup wise. They seem to be. So
Hope so. Yeah, yeah. It's been kind of a draft for a long time. I mean a drought. I mean not draft in
yeah,
boxing. You might say, and so now it's good that it's finally picking up again.
yeah, 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 and hopefully that momentum stays in full swing as we move into 2023. And we
Yeah,
continue to see some of the best
hopefully.
matchups.
No, yeah, now that the COVID is also,
Yeah,
going backwards, not forwards. So that should be the case that goes
yeah,
up with boxing.
I'm with you there. So
Mm.
yeah, I think we're about to be in full swing. But thanks for everyone who joined in, attended, was able to share some information. Shout out Rodolfo. Shout out my mom. Shout out Bruce Gas. Shout out anyone else who is listening in the aftermath. Of course, we will be back in the mix here next week. In the meantime, feel free to hit us up in the comments and we'll certainly respond. Check out Boz Ajanovic on YouTube. Of course, Boxing Haven on Facebook. It'd
Yeah.
be cool to share some dialogue there. So
Well,
we're
I
out
can
here.
only say I kind of changed my name on YouTube, but it's just Boz Ajan now without the O in the end because it's
All
kind
right.
of. I thought that kind of
Baza John.
sounded, it's more snappy, simpler, and all that.
Baza John. So check it out. You heard it here, folks. Baza John. So be sure to check that out.
Hmm.
But
Kind
cool.
of
Appreciate you being here.
sounds like some kind of I don't know artist name from
Yeah,
R&B.
hey, setting the trends
Yeah,
here. So cool, good stuff. Then, well, we'll be touching base, of course, but in the meantime, definitely have a good one to everyone out there, and we'll catch you on the other side.